On August 3rd, 1998, Volcano the Blast Coaster opened to the public at Kings Dominion. This would be an innovative and ambitious Intamin catapult launch coaster. Riders would be launched up and through a volcano before going through multiple inversions into 2,700 feet of track. This was the world's first launched inverted coaster, and it didn't take long for this to become a crowd favorite. Despite its popularity and good reviews, however, this ride was definitely having its technical issues, and so in 2018, Kings Dominion made the tough decision to pull the plug on Volcano the Blast Coaster. This devastated a lot of Kings Dominion fans, but of course, we knew that Kings Dominion wasn't going to replace this with something small. There would have to be a major thrill ride to fill the gap that Volcano left at the park. Rumors as to which coaster could sit on this plot of land after its removal started up pretty quickly. The first one to fill that spot, at least in part, was Tumbili. This was an SNS free spin that opened in March of 2022. We knew that this was not going to be the entire replacement for Volcano, but this was the first step. Tumbili isn't anything special, it's an off-the-shelf 40 free spin from SNS Worldwide. So what was going to be the second piece of Volcano's replacement? Well, a few years ago, rumors started circling about a B&M wing coaster. And, well, in 2024, on July 31st, we finally have the official announcement. Rapterra is scheduled to open in 2025. It is a B&M wing, and it is actually a B&M launched wing. This makes it the world's second B&M launched wing coaster after Thunderbird at Holiday World in Indiana. So let's run down some stats for this coaster. Rapterra will be 3,086 feet long, with a top height of 145 feet, a top speed of 65 miles an hour, 3 inversions in that LSM launch going from 0 to 65 miles an hour in 4 seconds. In terms of comparing its length, speed, and height to the other B&M wing coasters around the world, this coaster is going to be right outside the top 5 out of that model in every category. This ride will not be as extreme as Volcano, but it is going to be a pretty extreme thrill ride. There's no question that this is made for thrill seekers. Before we go any further, let's talk about what the layout and experience is going to look like. So after a right-hand turn out of the station, you pass under some theming elements, which hopefully are there in real life when it opens, and launch from 0 to 65 in 4 seconds. If you've ridden Thunderbird at Holiday World, that acceleration is very similar. Thunderbird launches you 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. Is this acceleration bad? Well, no, but I do think that B&M's launches aren't the most powerful in the business. From here, you fly over a big right-hand overbank. This wing over turn, as they're calling it, is the highest point of the ride. That's where you reach that 145-foot mark. In the back here, you might get a little bit of sideways airtime. In fact, I wonder about the airtime strength on this ride in general. There are a couple of moments that look to give airtime on paper, but with those vest restraints in the wing seating, is it actually going to turn out that way? I know other wing seating coasters like Skyrush at Hershey Park can provide plenty of airtime, but we haven't really seen airtime on a B&M wing coaster yet, so I'm very curious to see how those sensations feel. And going back to the vest restraints, which we know for sure that this ride is going to have, we know that the vest restraints eliminate headbanging, but it also takes away the negative G moments. So that's going to be one of the intriguing things about actually getting on this coaster once it opens. So after this overbank turn, you fly into a 119-foot tall dive loop. A dive loop is a classic inversion on a B&M coaster, and it turns the train around while flipping riders upside down, so it's a good moment, though I don't think it's going to be the standout moment on Rapterra. 119 feet is a pretty good size for a dive loop too, by the way. After this inversion, you're going to go into a very unique element for a wing coaster, an S-hill. This to me could be the most intriguing part of the coaster. This element is usually designed to be snappy on other models, but I'm not sure based off this animation how snappy it's really going to be. Even if it's not much, I do appreciate that B&M is trying to mix it up a little bit, and it's better than just a low to the ground turn. After one such low to the ground turn, you rise up into a wave turn, another very interesting element on a wing coaster. Now, RMC has made the wave turn very famous on some of their coasters, but I don't think this element is going to feel nearly as crazy on here. Those moments usually provide some crazy sideways airtime, and going back to the vest restraint issue, can this coaster provide that type of airtime with the restraints? I'm not convinced that it can. This wave slide element is a cool idea. I hope it works out and doesn't feel kind of awkward though. One thing I will say about this coaster is that if some of the more negative G moments pop, it's going to have a really nice diverse layout, because after this wave slide, you fly into your second inversion, a corkscrew. A corkscrew is a classic roller coaster inversion, and so I don't hate that they threw this in. Now you have a straight up camelback. It doesn't look to be taken fast enough to give ejector airtime, but it could be a really nice moment of floater airtime. Of course, B&M, the manufacturer, is known for their hyper and giga coasters among most other models, which are built for airtime and speed. I've heard that some of those B&M hypers have moments of airtime that can last 4 to 5 seconds. The point is, B&M knows how to do floater airtime. The question is, will it translate to a wing coaster? From here, Rapterra goes through one last inversion, which is a heartline roll. Save a little right hand turn to get you back to the station. This is the last element of Rapterra. So overall, I think this layout is very intriguing, and I'm liking what I see. If all the moments hit like they're supposed to, then you've got a wide array of forces, potentially some airtime, a decent launch, some inversions. There's a good mix to go around. But of course, the question with B&M recently has been the smoothness. While I haven't personally been able to experience any of B&M's brand new roller coasters, what I've heard is that they are not glossy smooth. Now, to be clear, these aren't running like a 1979 aerodynamics coaster or anything like that, but I will say that what I've heard is that a lot of these brand new B&Ms are a little shaky, and that's a little concerning. Is this a common theme, or is just something off with those rides? I don't know. But the question is going to be in regard to Rapterra, can they make this one smooth? This is important just because it makes the ride experience more pleasant if it's smooth, but it's also important because of the ride type. A wing coaster is a type of ride that having a rough ride experience is much more noticeable and much easier to do, because if you sit on those outside seats, you feel the imperfections a lot more. Take the original wing coaster, X2 at Magic Mountain, which opened in 2000. This is a coaster that I wouldn't necessarily label as rough, but there are some slightly uncomfortable moments when you're sitting on those outside seats. It's just because you're farther away from the track, and when you're sitting on top of the track like a traditional roller coaster, it can be a lot rougher than a wing coaster, but the wing coaster can feel rougher or bouncier because of the fact that you're sitting farther away from the track. Hopefully that made sense. The point is, Rapterra being smooth is very important in my opinion for the general guest response to this coaster, because remember, it's having to live up to Volcano the Blast Coaster, which was considered one of, if not the best ride in the park. It kind of reminds me of what's happening right now at Disney with Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Is Tiana's a good ride objectively? Well, yeah, but the standard is Splash Mountain, and it's really hard to meet that standard. In a similar fashion, it's going to be hard for this new coaster at King's Dominion to meet the standard of the old one. But it looks like a pretty solid ride, and I wish King's Dominion and King's Dominion fans the best. So there you have it, my thoughts on the New-for-2025 coaster going to King's Dominion Rapterra. Let me know your thoughts on Rapterra in the comments below. We figured that it was going to be a B&M wing for a couple of years now, but did you expect better? Was this about what you expected, or is it better than you expected? Let me know down below, and for more coaster news and many other theme park related videos, subscribe here, and we'll see you next time.